The conflict between Israel and Hamas escalated dramatically on Sunday, May 18, 2025, with the launch of a large-scale Israeli ground offensive into Gaza. This operation, dubbed Operation Gideon's Chariots, follows days of intense airstrikes that have left the Gaza Strip reeling. The Israeli Defense Forces confirmed the operation, stating that ground troops have begun advancing supported by tanks, drones and combat engineering units into northern and central Gaza. This latest escalation comes after days of relentless rocket fire from Gaza into Israel, launched by Hamas and other militant groups. The IDF claims to be targeting Hamas's military infrastructure, including underground tunnels, weapons caches, and command centers. However, the operation has already resulted in a heavy toll on civilians in the densely populated Gaza Strip. The situation is rapidly deteriorating, with reports of widespread destruction and mounting casualties. The international community is watching with growing alarm as the conflict threatens to spiral out of control, raising fears of a protracted and bloody confrontation. Israel justifies its ground offensive as a necessary response to the incessant rocket fire from Gaza, which has disrupted daily life for millions of Israelis. The IDF maintains that the operation is targeting Hamas's military capabilities and aims to dismantle its ability to launch further attacks. They argue that Hamas deliberately embeds its infrastructure within civilian areas, using the population as human shields. Hamas, on the other hand, denounces the Israeli incursion as an act of aggression and an invasion of Palestinian territory. They vow to resist the offensive with all means at their disposal, portraying it as a struggle for survival against an occupying force. Hamas claims that it is defending the Palestinian people from Israeli aggression, and that its rocket attacks are a legitimate form of resistance. This clash of narratives underscores the deep-seated animosity and mistrust that fuel the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. With both sides entrenched in their positions and showing no signs of backing down, the prospects for a swift resolution appear bleak. The human cost of this latest escalation is already staggering. The relentless airstrikes and ground fighting have resulted in a sharp increase in casualties, with hundreds of Palestinians reported killed, including women and children. Hospitals in Gaza, already grappling with limited resources and the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, are now overwhelmed with the influx of casualties. Adding to the humanitarian crisis, thousands of residents in northern Gaza have been ordered to evacuate their homes and seek shelter in designated safe zones. However, there are serious concerns about the adequacy and safety of these designated areas, with humanitarian organizations questioning their ability to provide adequate protection from the ongoing fighting. The mass displacement of civilians further exacerbates the already dire humanitarian situation in Gaza, which has been under a crippling Israeli blockade for over a decade. The lack of essential supplies, including food, water, and medical aid, is pushing the already vulnerable population to the brink of a humanitarian catastrophe. The international community has expressed grave concern over the escalating violence in Gaza and called for an immediate ceasefire. The United Nations, the European Union, and numerous countries have urged both sides to show restraint and de-escalate the situation. However, these appeals have so far gone unheeded. The United States, a staunch ally of Israel, has expressed support for Israel's right to defend itself, but also urged caution to prevent further civilian casualties. Diplomatic efforts are underway, with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio engaging in shuttle diplomacy in the region, but a breakthrough remains elusive. As the fighting intensifies, there is growing fear that the situation could spiral further out of control, drawing in regional actors and further destabilizing the region. With both sides seemingly prepared for a protracted conflict and no clear path to a negotiated settlement, the future remains bleak for the people of Gaza, who once again find themselves caught in the crossfire.